Hey guys, we are back, and we're going to do some play testing today with Professor Xavier Saga. I've had a couple requests from some of the viewers, and we're going to get in here and go over some testing with Omega Red, and we're going to do some testing with some different options with Jean Grey, and see how those tunes are going to work out in the Saga. I've got a couple people out there that are trying to determine which tunes to bring up, so we're going to get in here and play around today and see if we can give you guys an indication whether or not these other options are going to be something that's going to work for you. So first thing that we're going to do is we're going to go into the heroic section in the Shadow King trial. Now I'm going to be dropping these videos separately. So be watching for the other video. So we're going to do some testing in here with Omega Red. And we're going to be swapping out Sentinel. And then I'll be dropping another video doing some testing in the extreme section with a couple different options for you guys as well. We did receive our payout from the Mutant Leaderboard. So we were able to bring up Jean Grey, Omega Red, and I also brought up Phoenix as well. So we're going to be testing out several things. Now, I specifically have been asked to try this. However, I do want to drop these guys back over so you guys can see exactly what kind of power we're working with. That way, you guys are able to make a decision based on how big your tunes are, whether or not you think this is something that's going to work. So our Omega Red is 7 red. And Nimrod, Scientist Supreme, and Apocalypse are all 3 diamond. Excuse me. And of course, all of the tunes are level 105 and obviously gear tier 20. So that will give you an indication on size and how they're looking, so you guys can determine for yourselves whether or not this is going to be something that's going to work for you. So we're going to jump in here with this. And of course, I'll let it set for a second to give you guys an idea of the ISOs that I'm using. I am using Healer on Scientist Supreme. We're using Striker on Omega, Apocalypse, and Lady Deathstrike. And then we are using, I'm going to say Raider. I still get those mixed up. So this is what we're going to go in, and we're going to go into the last node. Because it's typically going to be the most difficult. So let's jump in here and see how this works. I personally don't think you're going to have any issue whatsoever swapping in Omega. The heroic trials are not very difficult. I honestly think that whenever I was going through it before that I could have put it on auto. I mean, Orcus just walks all over these nodes. So we're going to try it out and see how it goes. All right, so we're going to go ahead and use her ultimate. And we're going to go after Shadow King right out of the gate. Yeah, I don't think it's really going to matter if you're bringing it. You know, I think the individual who asked me to try this out, their Omega is 4 red. I really don't think it's going to matter. And just to that light, I'm going to only use his basic. I'm not going to use his special or his ultimate in this fight since he is so big. And we'll go from there and kind of see how that's going to work out. All right, let's go here with Cersei and use his ultimate. Yeah, it's ridiculous. Orcus just destroys these nodes. All right, let's go ahead and use his special. Now, of course, most people, unless you're really, really new, probably have their Orcus built up pretty large. So I really don't think that you're going to struggle much with this if you are subbing in a 4 red Omega. And if that's going to work best for you to spread out your gear 20, then I think you'll probably be pretty safe. Let's go ahead and try a couple different nodes on here just to make sure. Let's see. Spider Society. Yeah, let's try this one with Night Stalkers just to be sure, because the last thing I want to do is give you guys bad advice. So let's go into this node and just make sure that there's no issues here as well. But I'm going to be very surprised if you're going to have any issues whatsoever if you come into this section with Omega. All right. Now, on this node, you're absolutely going to want to make sure that you control Blade. We're going to go ahead and use her ultimate. Okay, worked out perfect. Blade stunned right out of the gate. All right, so let's, that works out well because he is standing right next to Blade, so let's go out. Man, Orcus's damage is just ridiculous in here. All right, let's use Apocalypse. Let's go ahead and get rid of Man-Thing. Wow, he took that like a champ. All right, let's go ahead and use the special. All right, we're definitely going to want to, again, I'm just going to use Omega's basic. I don't think it's a fair comparison with him being 7 red to use his specials and ultimates because he'll wipe out the whole side of the board. All right, let's go ahead and get an ability block on Blade. You're definitely going to want to control Blade and Oath. All right, let's go after Oath here. Let's use her special. All right, and we're going to use Nimrod's ultimate. Hopefully get rid of her. Perfect. All right. Let's get rid of Blade as soon as possible. All right, we're going to stick with his basic. Yeah, I don't see that you're going to have any issues whatsoever subbing in Omega. Not to mention, he's really, really valuable in Crucible. So bringing him up to Gear 20, I think, is an excellent idea. And if it's going to help you utilize your Gear 20 pieces better to get through the saga, that's even better. So we're going to go into the final node one more time. And try that out. Just to give you one more look at it. But yeah, I think you're going to be perfectly fine with Omega. He's so fun to use for sure. I'm not a huge fan of his weird fiery hair, but all right, let's just try this a little differently. Let's go in here with our basic right out of the gate. Get slow on Shadow King. All right, let's continue to go after Shadow King with her special. All right, and we're going to use Apocalypse's ultimate and get rid of Shadow King. Man, he took that like a champ too. Okay. We got ability block, so we're going to use the basic there. All right, and it sounds like we're getting ready to have a thunderstorm outside. All right, there you go. Looks like Nimrod took a beat down. So it does look like you could have some bad RNG and end up having them just focus in on one of your tunes, but it's not going to be a big deal. Just do a reset. You're not going to have bad RNG every time. Plus, I was trying to play it to make it a little more difficult. Since we already lost Nimrod, let's go ahead and use his ultimate just to watch what he does. Man, he's ridiculous. All right. So, yeah, I don't think you're going to have any issues, guys. If you want to bring up Omega, you definitely 100% have my go-ahead on that. I think you're going to be just fine. So, again, I appreciate you guys watching the video. You know the drill. Like the video, subscribe, and share it with your friends. And stay positive and enjoy the game, guys. See you in the next video.